me all layered up. It's really not that cold. But anyway, it is lovely to be inside because it is completely misty moisty outside. If you see the photograph I just took at the top of the hill, there is no view. It's all fog. So, yesterday the fog was on top of the harbour and it was beautiful. Today we're right in the middle of it. So it is lovely to be here with you. Linda, good morning. Hello, everybody. I know you're all coming on. Can take me a little while to work out who you are, but it's beautiful to have you. Faye, it's great to see you. Your colourful little whatnot's new to me, you see. So, good morning. We are doing rocks inside today, and we're going to start with this little friend, of which I'm very fond. This is fluorite octahedron, right? Kelly, good morning. And it really is white on top and green underneath. You think it's all green because it depends how you look at it, but when you get the light through it, it's two colours, and I love that. I'm feeling pretty good, Faye. I had an amazing time in the field this morning. Sharon, Julian, good morning, beautiful beings. It's lovely to be with you. I'm just so enjoying sharing this. Look, I had meditation and I went so deep. I walked out the door to go for a walk to the top of the hill. It was like, I'm not back yet. Whoa. Trisha, good morning. So here's some quartz. It is actually clear quartz, but it's got this really sweet kind of dusting of something pink over it. Probably some kind of hematite. There you are. You can see it most clearly on that side. Tracy, good morning. It's just lovely, and it's got these interesting etchings. It's grown in the presence of something else that's made these dents, and then it's dissolved out later. Who knows what? Quite fabulous. You look at it and think, oh, what does it say? Is it some kind of message? Well, who knows? But there you go. That one's pretty fantastic. Almost like writing. So, and look, it's really quite transparent. You can see, there's my finger. It's really very visually, optically clear. So it's a beautiful rock. Charlotte, good morning. Last but not least, flying as we are through the arrow of time, or being an arrow through the space of time, this is obsidian. I'm feeling well. I had a wonderful time in the field today. I don't know how old it is, but I guess it's from the Americas somewhere, because it's certainly not from New Zealand. Somebody gave me this, and I guess it would have killed a few bison. But it's a fabulous artifact. Amazing what people can create. Susanna, it's great to see you. And look, you can see there's the shape, it's made to be lashed to something. It's a beautiful piece of something that we enjoy. Now not being used for war. I opened my email to get the words for this live, and I saw that the UN Secretary General has made a call for a global ceasefire, which is like, wow, you think we're in the middle of a reset? Now, I'm sure it's going to take a while for that call to get big enough to penetrate the very dense consciousness of the groups and the countries and everything else that are bent on fighting. But isn't this an amazing time to be alive? Yeah, we are an arrow through the space of time, or the time of space. Yeah, let's not do that. It gets very confusing very quickly. So today, I just want to carry on with our conversation from yesterday. And yesterday, what the hell were we talking about yesterday? Yesterday was like a lifetime ago. Big camel hump today. Yeah, it did stop for a moment, but we're back, right? We are back. That's another reason why we play with rocks and looks at flowers. It gives the stream time to get settled in and organised. And normally if there's a bump, it's close to the beginning. For me, at least, right? So yesterday we were talking about reciprocity and letting love into your life. Because the question that our beautiful friend Raghunath raised is, well, look, I'm feeling unrequited. There's no love. There's no, I'm putting out and nothing comes back. And when I thought about that, I realised from my own experience that if stuff's not coming in, fundamentally on some level, I'm not letting it in. Which is like, oh, feck. Particularly when you think, well, I don't know how I'm stopping all this stuff that I really want to have arrive. What's the deal with that? And so we talked about that and how, we can have massive disincentives to actually let what we want into our lives. Because the only reason you would stop something wonderful from coming to you as the divine creator that you are, and how you think and how you feel creates your personality, and your personality creates your personal reality. Thank you, Joe Dispenza. Those are his words, and it's true. The only reason you would keep doing that is, one, if you weren't aware of it, and two, if you didn't know that something else was available, and three, fundamentally, if you were afraid to let things change. So we talked about that yesterday. And there's all kinds of really good reasons why people actually shut the good stuff out of their lives. Quite often it comes down to programming from childhood. Sometimes, we have a traumatic experience, we have a deep betrayal, whatever it is. Or sometimes it's just a myriad of tiny little circumstances that eventually we look at and say, oh, well, that means my life is like this. And then after that, we see the world through that lens, and that's just how it is. My life is like this. It's always shitty. And one of you yesterday made the wonderful, it's like, celebrating, wonderful observation. It's just, I sort of realised blame is useless. It just ties me to the past. It just keeps me connected to that thing that actually I'm holding on to it and it's hurting me. So let me say, okay, it was shitty, it happened, now I'm done with it. Let me love myself instead, and love myself enough to let go of my emotional connection to the shit that happened. Because it did. But you're the one that decides whether it keeps you there. So, anyway, summary of yesterday. I seem to need to do that. I suppose it makes sense. It helps us connect the dots. I'm glad it's just right, Faye. I'm super pleased for you. And we're all creating this together, by the way. Maria, good morning. So today I want to talk about opening your heart. Massive topic. Got 13 minutes to do it in. Let's see how we go. This is the beauty of doing this in increments. We do little bits and we come back and we play with things. Jennifer, hello, Laura, it's great to see you both. Yay! So opening your heart, right? What the hell is opening your heart? What I understand now from my own practice of opening my heart, which believe me was not a natural or easy thing to do, and is still something I practice, and there's always more love to let in. Always more love. The kind of way in to think about what does it mean when you open your heart is you are feeling some kind of elevated emotion, like love or joy or compassion or delight or, gratitude is a great one. Appreciation. Oh my God, I so appreciate this. Wow, that's amazing. And most of us, one way or another, can find some memory where it was just like, Sang Marie, it's lovely to see you. I know your little Facebook hasn't told me yet. There you are. Now Facebook's told me you're here. Most of us have had some experience of opening your heart. For anyone who's had children, it's not a guaranteed, but almost all of the time, the moment you hold that new baby, your heart just opens. That moment of bonding. And you know why? Because when your heart opens, there's a cascade of stuff that happens in your body, and oxytocin, which is the love chemical, pours from your emotional brain into your body, and it literally makes your heart swell. There is a chemistry that's understood. When you feel love, you get a bunch of oxytocin. And by the way, there is research, I don't know if I can tell this quickly, trust game, bunch of people, where it takes a period of time, where half of them, they have an amount of money and they invest it, and the other half of the people at the halfway mark through the study, the person who's done the investing has to decide whether to say, I'm going to give half of what I've given to this other person, my partner in this trust game, and then the person who's receiving this gift has to decide whether they're going to give some of it back to the person that gave it to them or keep it all, right? And for half of the people who played this game, they just played the game. The other half of the people, before the 3-month mark where this decision was made, they got a squirt of oxytocin in the nostril, right? So it goes to the brain. Now, for the people where their partner said, nah, I'm going to keep all the money myself. For the people who didn't get the oxytocin, they were the controls. They were, after that event, less likely, after another 3 months of investing, to take the risk and give to their partner in the game, right? It's like, no, you hurt me, you betrayed me, so off. The people who got the oxytocin were much more likely to just carry on being generous. Because when you open your heart, when the oxytocin pours, it's actually impossible to hold a grudge. It's amazing what happens. You know, a lifetime of resentment or pain or whatever, it just vanishes because you're feeling so much love. So that's the physical mechanism by which the heart opens. And there's this amazing thing called endothelial derived relaxing factor. EDRF, okay? Big long word. What happens when that, and that's all tied up with oxytocin and vasopressin and nitric oxide, and I can't remember the chemistry, like how it all works. But the endothelial derived relaxing factor literally makes your, like the blood vessels, especially in the heart, open. And so it all gets engorged with more blood, and you feel your heart swell. And when your heart really explodes and busts open, and I've not had this experience yet, but I've heard many people talk about it, you just feel like, it's, oh my God, my heart's going to fall out of my chest, but you're in bliss because there's so much oxytocin, so much this good stuff happening. It's like, oh, my heart is open. So that is what it is when your heart really opens. And if you want to hear people talking about what this is like, go and find on YouTube Joe Dispenza testimonials, put those words in, and you will find a testimonial reel. There's almost 500 stories in there now of people who've had amazing experiences healing themselves of trauma and incurable disease, and you're going to die, and now they're healthy and all that stuff. And many of them, one way or another, they talk about an experience where their heart opened. It's really powerful. It's really good to understand how it works. So that's what opening your heart is, right? And you do it. Well, how do you do it? That's the next question. First of all, you can't do it when you're feeling threatened. You can't do it when you not feel safe. Because if you've got to run away from a predator, morning Karen, great to see you. If you've got to run away from something scary, if you've got to survive, right? That is not a time to open a heart. You've got to survive. If your survival gene is on, if you're in stress, if you're in anxiety, if you're in fear and your resentment or anger or bitterness or depression or, desperation or grief or whatever it is, with that chemistry running, you can't open your heart, right? It's not going to happen. So if you've got to run away from a T-Rex, it's not a time to open your heart. It's not a time to relax. It's not a time to sit still and be, So the first thing you have to do is get out of survival mode. And when I'm working with people, really the first thing to do is to find some way to feel safe. Now, of course, right now, for some people, that's very challenging because you might be sitting in your four walls thinking, well, here I am, that's fine. But the thought is, oh my God, when's it going to get me? Which, of course, is precisely the kind of stressful thinking that changes your immunity, reduces your immunity, and actually sets you up for synchronicity to make that true. Because when's it going to get me? That is a clear thought, and it is an elevated emotion. It's not a positive elevated emotion, but that is a powerful signal that goes out to the universe, and the universe has no choice. It has to endorse who you're being. Feck. So, so let's get you out of that spot. But just to understand, clear intention, elevated emotion, doesn't matter whether the emotion is good or bad. If it's powerful, it's going out. You can't change that. You can just change you. So, if you're in that space, and I seem to need to stay there, the first thing you've got to do is somehow get your attention off that thought. You actually have to focus on the fact, here I am in my room, I am not currently sick. And this is what I do, because sometimes I think, oh, did I get contacted there? Or, did I make a mistake? Did I let something in? And I think, Right, I'm so grateful. Come back to gratitude. I'm so grateful that right now I'm feeling really good. I'm so grateful. I'm well. I'm so grateful that the air I'm breathing is safe. I'm so, just get into gratitude. It's the go-to. Whenever your brain starts to say, oh, you've been exposed, you should be scared. Because, there's bugs and things in the world all the time. And I know coronavirus is new, blah, 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 blah. But if you focus on it, you are literally drawing it to you. So you've got to get your mind off that. And the easiest way to do that is to put it on something else. And then, of course, my go-to is I go into my meditation space. I slow my brain down. And I had to do that this morning because I had a lot of stuff come up yesterday. It seems to be just like that at the moment. And also, I was really aware that I just needed to let more love in. So you got to get safe. Whatever you have to do to practice feeling safe, and gratitude is a good way to do it, and to just give thanks for everything that is okay in your world right now, rather than obsessing on the things that aren't okay, which you probably can't change right now. Obsess about the things that are okay, right? And as you start to obsess about the things that are okay, it is quite natural that you are going to change your state. So that's what, how we had a gratitude storm last week sometime? I want us to do this again because we're going to practice this, right? But we're going to practice it in a slightly different way. Because I said, fine, okay, you're going to talk about opening your heart, Maddie. Why don't we try and do it? Because as a community, we're connected in this energetic field. So let's see what we can do. Yes, and finding an activity. You see, what that does, Linda, is that's taking the brake off, because when you're in stress, you've got the accelerator down because you want to run away and do something, and then you've got the brake on because you've got to sit still inside your house, right? So find something useful, and then you direct that energy into something helpful. That's really, really true. So, but let's say you can't even do that. Let's say you are stuck and there is a, hell in a handbasket going on in your head. How do you shift that? So, first of all, you know what I'm going to say. Put your attention in your heart. Put your hand over your heart. Give it a rub. Put your attention there. Thank you that I have a heart. I'm so grateful my heart is beating healthily. And even if it's bumpy, even if I'm feeling fear, I'm so grateful I've got a body to have this experience with. Yeah, and your best defense is to focus on what you desire. God, Julian, yeah, and you're in service, you're in health, and they've got to educate you, and then it grabs your mind and says, oh no, you're at risk. I'm so grateful that I'm more powerful than coronavirus, because you are. I'm so grateful that I can control my own immunity. I'm so grateful that I'm more powerful than everything in my environment that says, no, you're powerless and this is just going to come through your life like a torrent and there's nothing you can do. I'm so grateful that I am bigger than this. Rachel, good morning, honey. I'm so grateful that I can choose to feel love for myself. This is the thing I nearly forgot. The best person to start feeling safe with, by the way, is you. Because yeah, some of us really beat up on ourselves, but maybe I'm so grateful that I can choose to love myself just right now. I'm so grateful that I can choose to close my eyes because it's too hard to look in the mirror, but I can imagine myself with golden light all around me. I'm so grateful that I can get creative because I have a brain and I remember when I really loved on someone or something. I'm so grateful I can remember the time that I felt really good. I'm so grateful that I can remember in advance a time when I'm going to feel even better than that. I'm so grateful that I can remember a time when I was healthy. I'm so grateful that somebody is in my ear saying it's possible for me to change my life and that I can imagine what my life is like now. I can create it now. I can imagine loving myself now. I'm so grateful that I can elevate my emotions by choice, even when it feels really strange and really, really weird. I'm so grateful I can change my state. I'm so grateful I can breathe in and out of my heart. And I can imagine there is a circle of angels around me that as I breathe in, they are sending me light, they are sending me love, they are sending me compassion, and I'm going to breathe it in and I'm going to let it arrive. I'm actually going to let this love in, because these angels are me in alternate dimensions and parallel lives, but they love me, and I'm going to let this love in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to be willing to let some of that love flow back to them and say, thank you for being here for me. You see, you start to create a new reality. This is how you open your heart. And God, it can feel really strange, but you have a powerful imagination. You can imagine them all around you in a circle of light. You don't need to see their faces. You just need to be willing to accept that they're there because they are. And this is how you open your heart. And you practice it, and you practice it, and you practice it. And it starts to get easier to do so. And the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And your brain starts to calm down. Margarita, it's lovely to see you, honey. Sending and receiving positive vibes. Because when you decide to receive from yourself, morning Timothy, you automatically send more positivity, yeah? We focus so much on giving. But today I want you to focus on and play with and imagine and practice receiving and letting love in. Amy! You're going to enjoy this on the replay, honey. We've been practicing about receiving. Got to be willing to receive, and you got to be willing to receive from yourself, and it takes practice if you've done something else for most of your life, or you just don't know what it feels like, but everybody has felt it at least once. And you know what, if you can't remember feeling it, because I couldn't remember joy, I had no remembrance of joy. I had pictures that I could look back and think, well, obviously I was joyful then, I couldn't remember it. You can practice, you can do it from scratch, you totally can, because I have. And it was nobody's fault that I couldn't remember joy. But now I know what joy's like because I practiced it. It took me some time. But you know what? It was really worth the effort. So that's what I wanted to share today. Practice opening your heart to yourself. Allow yourself to receive the love that only you can give. Nobody else can love you like you. It's not possible. Only you can meet your deepest, most heartfelt need. And when you do, you are meeting the most deep, heartfelt need of everybody around you. Because the energy that you emit without having to send a thing automatically is going to give them more wholeness. And you don't have to send or give a thing. It's just going to happen without you doing anything. So be the love that you desire. Sapphire, it's lovely to see you, honey. Just finishing, we've all been opening our hearts. And I can feel you exploring and playing it, and I'm so proud of you. So, big love. Keep playing. I'll see you tomorrow with bells on. Bye-bye.